Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Wednesday, May the 21st. Man, it's almost June already. Where is the year going? So starting at the top of the board, the Buffalo Sabres, not really a huge surprise here. According to Elliot Friedman, they're gauging the market on Bowen Byram, seeing what they can get. We've known that for Buffalo, they're likely to make a move on the blue line. And so it looks like Byram is once again on the market. And there were rumors around Byram before the trade deadline. And I would think probably the same teams that were tied to him then are going to be the ones that are calling or responding to those calls and making offers now. We'll see what happens with the Sabres. The potential big news of the day, sorta, is Brendan Shanahan. There have apparently been rumblings over the last few weeks that Brendan Shanahan could end up getting wooed by the New York Islanders. And the Islanders, while I'm putting this board together, reportedly have been granted permission to talk to Brendan Shanahan about taking a leadership role with the team. And I would think general manager, team president, this kind of thing. Probably a team president position, since Bergevin appears to be one of the front runners for the general manager job. Shanahan would probably play a similar role with the Islanders that he has played with the Toronto Maple Leafs for many years now. Shanahan's contract expires in June, so, I mean, the Leafs only have about 6 weeks left where they have control over who he talks to or anything like that. So, him being granted permission to talk to the New York Islanders potentially could mean a seismic shift for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They cannot run this back again. They can't. They cannot come back with the same team and everybody that's the same in charge. It is not going to go over well with the fans. I would think the media will have a meltdown too. So we'll see what happens there with Brendan Shanahan. Let me know your thoughts. If you're an Islanders fan, are you excited about the idea of Brendan Shanahan coming in to potentially be a team president, or would you rather not? Do you look at what's going on in Toronto and say, no, I'd really rather that wasn't the case with the Islanders? Should be fascinating if that comes through. Also, the Chicago Blackhawks reportedly set to introduce their new head coach either today or tomorrow, and it's a familiar name, Jeff Blashill, who most recently at the NHL level was the head coach for the Detroit Red Wings, and now apparently he is going to be announced as the coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, and there's going to be some coaching staff changes as well. Anders Sorensen is reportedly staying on with the organization in another role. So, yeah, Blashill coming in as coach. Let me know as a Hawks fan how you feel about that possibility as these front office and head coaching jobs get filled up. You want those all filled up before you get to the draft. You want to have an idea for what the team's going to look like the following year, for what the general manager and the coach are going to want players the following year. And of course, with free agency, you kind of got to have that all in place as well. So, yeah, Blashill reportedly the next coach. We'll find out either later today or tomorrow. Rick Tocchet, interviewed by Rick Dollywall and Don Taylor today. In that interview, revealing that the lack of a practice facility, which I do think gets overblown by the media a little bit, did play into his decision. It doesn't sound like that was a major part of the decision, but it was part of it. Philadelphia has a state-of-the-art facility. Vancouver, basically, you have UBC, and then you practice as well at Rogers, which may give the Canucks a bit of an advantage in knowing the arena really, really well. But yeah, Tocchet does say that played part of a role in his decision. He also said he had no issue with the Vancouver media, so that does get talked about as well, as to whether or not the media makes a difference. I don't know, and it's one of those things where I think to myself, okay, so would somebody tell the media if they were the reason that, like, would you tell them? Maybe, maybe not. So either way, Tocchet moving on to Philadelphia. I honestly wish him the best, and I hope Vancouver figures things out. Like, I know there are some who see that, oh, Tocchet quit on the Canucks. No, he had the right to go to another team. This is fine. I don't really have a problem with it, because if he found a better situation for himself in Philadelphia, if that works better for him and his family, I don't think I would be in any position to say anything regarding that. And so all the best to Tocchet in Philadelphia. And I hope the Philadelphia Flyers have a pretty good year under his leadership. So from last night's PWHL hockey, going back to the middle of the board here, the Ottawa Charge are only a couple of wins away from potentially winning a championship. They win 2-1 in overtime last night over the Minnesota Frost, so they're up 1-0 in that series. They will host Game 2 tomorrow in Ottawa, and then Games 3 and 4 are in Minnesota. And then Game 5, if needed, is in Ottawa. Minnesota's very tough to beat at home, so it's important for Ottawa to get the win again tomorrow and force Minnesota to have to run the table the rest of the way. It is a best-of-5 series. Their best-of-5 series as well in the AHL, and all 4 of them get restarted tonight. Rochester's in Laval. That series is tied at 1. The one series that's a 2-0 lead, meaning Hershey's playing for their lives, is Charlotte in Hershey. So Charlotte's up 2-0. We'll see if Hershey has more in their 9 lives basket after surviving elimination in the last round. And now they're facing it, and they need to win 3 games in a row against the Charlotte Checkers in order to move on to the next round. Texas is in Milwaukee. That series is tied at 1. And Abbotsford's in Colorado. That series tied at 1 as well. Abbotsford's got to be better than what they were in the last game against the Colorado Eagles, or else this series may very well go the Colorado Eagles' way. But either way, Abbotsford's had a very successful season, and here's to hoping that maybe they can pull one out. So tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, it is Game 1 in Dallas, the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. This is the 3rd straight year that Dallas is in the conference final. For Edmonton, it's the 2nd straight year, so it's the 2nd straight year these teams have met. Things are a little bit different this year than last year. Also for tonight, Connor Brown is considered to be a game-time decision, and while Ekholm's been skating with the team in practice, he is not expected to play tonight. And then on the Dallas side, it looks like they're going to go 11 forward, 7 defensemen tonight. It looks like that's probably the way they're going to go. They've been doing that since Heiskanen returned, and so we'll probably see that tonight as well. John Klingberg on Edmonton talking about playing against Dallas and how he's excited to play against his former team. And then on the other side, you got Cody Ceci playing for Dallas and excited to play against his former team in the Edmonton Oilers. Either way, I think the winners of this will be the fans, because this is going to be a really fun series, I think. And I think it's going to be close. May end up going the full 7. We shall see. But for Dallas, they need to get these wins at home, because winning in Edmonton is going to be very difficult for them. So getting a win in Game 1 and then following that up with a win in Game 2. See, this is how it works. First team to 4 wins. So that's the kind of insight you guys come here for every day, isn't it? Anyways, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm mildly surprised at Blashill potentially getting that coaching job in Chicago. It looks like that's the case. But we have seen coaches struggle in one location, go somewhere else, and do pretty well. And then in terms of Shanahan, if Shanahan goes, does this affect how other players feel about returning to Toronto? Is it going to have any influence at all? And would that be a sign that the Toronto Maple Leafs are finally going to make some big changes and we could see quite a different team next year? At some point in time, I want to do a video looking at teams that have won championships, and obviously I'd want to wait till after the Stanley Cup to do that. And yeah, I want to talk about teams that have won championships and changes they made in order to get over the hump, that kind of thing. And sort of Toronto could be amongst teams that are, in that contender spot but haven't quite got there, and look at moves that could help, that kind of thing. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.